It's a pleasure to speak with you, and thank you again for your time. We're thrilled and very, very excited that you're coming back to Australia after more than 5 years. Congratulations on the album Devil. Is there a central theme for the album?
Thank you very much, first of all. Yeah, I mean, there's not like a theme in particular that we set out with, but there's definitely some, I guess, almost like running coincidences throughout the whole thing that just like parallel and kind of do make it an unintentional theme of going through transgressions in life, and it was kind of a reflection of what we were going through, lyrically. You can't help but kind of reflect what your life is doing when writing an album, and at that point it was us going through a lot of adversity and challenges, and coming back together and reuniting and just learning a lot about ourselves, and lessons of forgiveness, and lessons of just growing and maturing, and overcoming like some of the hardest things we can possibly go through, and but with a lot of patience and stuff and tolerance, everything pays off in the end, and there's always a reason to keep an optimistic point of view.
Absolutely. And with the return of Craig Owens and Derek Frost, was that reunion a catalyst for what's to date obviously your most inspiring and brilliant album?
Yeah, I mean, we were originally set out just to do reunion shows, and we were having so much fun at the time by doing those shows that we were like, hey, let's keep doing this, and then eventually me and Craig got in a room together, and we wanted to test the abilities and chemistry of our songwriting again, since it had been so long, like with any relationship, getting right back into it is kind of hard right away, so you kind of got to enter into the shallow one before diving into the deep, and we were feeling it right away. We were writing songs on the acoustic guitar, and then we approached everybody else about it, and they were all interested in getting together and actually making the album.
And it's ended up in such a fantastic work too. It's tremendous. Geographically, you're only about 60 miles from Detroit in Davison. Has the journey to success been difficult for your music around Rock City itself?
Yeah, I mean, the Michigan music scene has always been a very diverse one, like you have anything from like Grand Funk Railroad to the stuff that was going on with Motown, and all the way to rock and roll like NWK and Jack White and Kid Rock, like it's a little bit all over the place. I mean, there's a huge rap scene there, and for us it was just always a reflection of what we were brought up to, what we knew of, like a blue collar hard-working ethic that puts the meal on the table, and that's what it was. We knew that like we didn't have an easy into the music industry. We're not based out of LA or New York, where everybody was moving to at the time, well before the social networking stuff was going on. So we knew that we were going to have to work hard for it, and that's what we did. We did as much as we could in the state of Michigan at first, and playing shows every chance we possibly got, until word was spreading to neighboring states and stuff, and people were driving all over to see us. And so we figured if it can work here, then it can work everywhere. And with the right faith behind us, it made it work. We booked concerts all over the country on our own, and not knowing if anyone was going to show up. And a lot of times no one did. And but you just keep doing that, and with that mentality, and eventually hard work pays off, and that's how any success that we've gotten has been achieved.
Oh, terrific. And even far away in Australia, we're very cognizant of that blue-collar hard work ethic around the region, particularly of Detroit and Davison. Duct Tape itself is a remarkable track. Did you find that the track allowed you to explore your personal musical skills and input further than ever before?
Yeah, I mean, that track was a lot of fun to make, you know. It started out with me and Craig sitting down at my piano and really just coming up with a lot of it based off of that, you know. And we showed it to everybody else from what it was, and they didn't really get it just at first, but really just trust us, you know. We'll get into the studio, and you guys are going to play on top of it, and you'll get what we're going for once we're in there. It's nothing that, like, we can just jam right now. And so they were like, okay, yeah. I mean, it's a cool track. It's kind of got like a hip-hop vibe to it, you know, and that was something that was new for us. And so once we got into the studio, even the producer was like, okay, I'm just going to kind of follow you guys on this one. And then once me and Craig did our thing on it and kind of helped guide everybody else to what they should be doing, everybody got it, and it became like a lot of their favorite tracks on the album afterwards. And that's what making music is all about. You know, you should always be able to push yourself outside of your own comfort zone a little bit, and that's when you're going to create the music that you enjoy and other people will enjoy.
Indeed, and that undertow of hip-hop is most definitely definable. While we're talking about fun to make, 3 a.m. looked like such a great video to make. Was it a lot of fun?
Oh, yeah, that was by far the most favorite music video that we've ever done. I think that we all collectively agreed upon that, you know. We were just all able to act like ourselves and act a little foolish, you know, have fun with it. And that was really important in that because, like, a lot of the times, you know, like, music videos are just solely focused on, like, the singer or something, you know, or an actor. And the fact that we were all able to act in it and really shine through with our personalities is why we had so much fun with that video.
It looked like it was awkward holding the keyboard up on that bed.
It was all right.
From a more personal perspective, you've been with Chidos right from the beginning in 2001, and before that, of course, an accomplished vocalist with Still No Sign. Which came first for you personally? Was it the vocal ability or keyboard skills?
My parents put me in piano lessons at 7 years old, and my parents were both phenomenal piano players as well, great musicians, and great singers as well. So a lot of that came from them and their influence over me in that aspect. And we would go to church, and they would get me involved with a lot of the music that was going on with the choir just all over from piano to whatever. And then eventually, I even started playing guitar at the church as well. And so that's like where a lot of it really came from for me, was from them and their encouragement. And then I got really involved with once my voice had developed, like I was in a lot of like different traveling choirs and across the state of Michigan, and would always go off and do competitions and stuff, and then eventually went to college for vocal music as well. So I guess the vocals always were my original passion, but I knew that I had the ability to play the piano as well, and it was an interesting element that I could add to the group while me and Craig could work at the same time vocally, and that's what really we were focused on at first, was having the dual ability of having vocals. So even though it seems like piano might be my first instrument, I guess the vocals actually were.
Terrific. And I guess it's not a typical sound of music to include keyboards. It's a masterstroke, and you appear to have almost created your own genre. How would you categorize your music?
It's always hard, you know. It's always tough to describe. I mean, especially when you don't have an outside perspective, you know. Because what it sounds like to somebody else might be totally different than how I pictured it and how I created it. And I usually go along the lines of hard rock that gets very emotional with a lot of melodic sensibility, and you know, it can go from building up to screaming and then fall back on some very articulate and pretty melodies. So it's all over the place, you know. It's a smorgasbord of a little bit of everything that we listen to. and growing up what were our biggest influences. So it comes across in kind of a weird way, but I think that's why it stands out, and that's where it works, you know.
Sure. And who would be some of those influences?
Well, when we all got together at first, back in 2001, me and Craig were both really into Queen and how diverse like all the tracks were from each other. So we wanted to always take that approach to songwriting, not make the same song twice. I thought that was important for longevity of a music career. And so we've shaped a lot of our music around Queen in that aspect. And then we modeled a lot of our live performances off of the hardcore bands at that time, like At the Drive-In, Rage Against the Machine, Refuse, Police Have Fire, Poison the Well, and just how interactive they were with the crowd and how much energy and yeah, it's fun they were to see live and kept you talking about them for forever after you would witness and be a part of that experience.
Yes, indeed. And I think it's fair to say that your live performances are now both powerful but also unpredictable. What can we expect for Australian audiences from your shows?
Well, we're hoping for, I mean, each show is different. I mean, it depends on your mood that day, really. But whenever we go out there, we try to bring as much energy as we possibly can. You know, I mean, no show is just like the last one, but each time we just feed off the crowd's energy so much that it's important that we can get on the same page as the crowd and really enjoy it all together, you know. So, but once that is achieved, I believe it's a great experience for everybody, and obviously if we're receiving positive energy from the crowd, then we're having a great time as well.
Absolutely. And do you have a favourite track personally to perform from Devil?
From Devil, I would say right now, Expensive Conversations and Cheap Motels, but they're all fun to play. It's hard to really choose. I mean, we haven't played every single song live just yet, but out of the ones that we have, I'd say Expensive Conversations probably.
Terrific. We're certainly looking forward to hearing more from the album live. Why the Munsters matter speaks to so many people, and including me. It's an important track. Is it important for you personally?
Oh, definitely. I mean, well, lyrically, it's just, you know, it's not very accepting sometimes is the hard thing. And a lot of people feel like they have to put on these masks that aren't really them, and at the end of the day, you know, I think if you just can be yourself, then that's what really matters most. And to me, that's what a lot of that song is saying, you know. And then musically, it even matches it too. I mean, there's so many dynamics, and going from the verse to the heavy breakdown to the jarring intro and re-intro, that it shows a lot of change of character, and that's why I think that the lyrics match it so well.
Sure, absolutely. Your music helps so many people in their day-to-day lives. Speaking to them and allowing to them to release their emotions in a more positive way, even the negative emotions. Do you get much personal feedback from the fans on how your music has enriched their lives?
Yeah, I mean, every day, you know, all you have to do is check out our social media and you'll see that, like, and that's what keeps us going as musicians is to hear that type of stuff. It keeps us inspired to write more, and it keeps us wanting to travel. And you know, I mean, what we do is not easy for us either. Like, it's hard to hold relationships, to have like a family life, to have a circle of friends, even like to go back home to, you know, and you do this so much. And so it's important to have things like that keep you driving as a musician, to keep on going. Otherwise, it's going to fizzle out, you know. So, and that's been one thing that I've always said was one of the main reasons why I do this.
Sure, I can understand that indeed. Old Fishlips is Dead. The video clip is extremely stirring and powerful, and it matches the track beautifully, portraying tragedy felt, obviously. Who was the inspiration for Old Fishlips is Dead?
Conceptually, I know Craig was very hands-on with that one. He wanted to come across as like a relationship was paralleled and always trying to grasp this light, like when you're in a dark place, and the journey that it takes to really achieve that, and then be satisfied with your relationships and with yourself, and doing that. And yeah, I feel like that got captured pretty well on that.
Terrific, most certainly. So we'll be seeing you in late January, early February, and early indications of your shows will be massive. I know fans are getting very excited, and one of your shows to see Chidos live is definitely on my bucket list. What are you anticipating from Australian fans?
Well, it's been 5 years, so I hope that they're excited as we are, and just the fact that we don't get to go there all the time means a lot to us, and hopefully it means as much to them, and we'll just be able to enjoy the music that we've created together, and have a great time in your country and in your culture.
Well, I know I won't be the only one there, but I certainly will very much appreciate you coming to our shores. And congratulations once again on such a triumphant achievement in the album Devil. And we look forward to your visit. Thank you very, very much for your time today, Brad. It's most greatly appreciated.
All right. Thank you. That was a great interview, and it was absolutely my pleasure. Thank you.
Terrific. We'll look forward to seeing you in January.
All right.